Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Trey Ball. We want to thank you for listening. Before I go any further, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on all things outside the playbook. Looking across the NBA, the coaching search is in full swing. The Dallas Mavericks, Indiana Pacers, Blazers, and Celtics have been very involved in the coaching search. It's been well documented over the past couple of weeks. They all seem to have gotten their man. The Orlando Magic, New Orleans Pelicans, and the Washington Wizards are still in search. But starting with the Indiana Pacers, Rick Carlisle resigns from Dallas, heads over to Indiana. He does bring a very defensive-minded approach to the game of basketball. Indiana does have a lot of good guys as far as defensive personnel goes. The Holiday brothers, Turner, can't forget him. He's someone who should be in the defensive player of the year discussion each year. So Rick Carlisle has a lot of tools to work with after a 13-season career in Dallas. He goes 555, 478 losses, a championship in that span. He returns back to Indiana. He spent 4 seasons in Indiana before his move to Dallas. So, kind of going back to where he really started before his career in Dallas. So, there's comfortability there. He's familiar with the organization, familiar with the city. Fans are familiar with him. But like I said, ultimately it's about the personnel and his style of coaching, and he loves the defensive end. He made a great choice in going back to Indiana. Dallas Mavericks hire his replacement and former point guard Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd doesn't have nearly the extensive resume as Rick Carlisle. Jason Kidd is 183 and 190 throughout his career as a coach. He does have a championship in Dallas. He played his career in Dallas on several different stints. Ended up getting a championship in 2011. So they respect him. They like him there. He is a very knowledgeable point guard, one of the best in NBA history. If you watch one of our other videos, I do have him in my top 5, top 6 point guards of all time. He's somebody I really respect as far as the game of basketball, and especially the position that he plays in. Rumors are true. He's planning on hiring Jason Terry and JJ Barea to be his 2 assistants, 2 other Mavericks. And if you're paying attention, JJ Barea, Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, Dirk Nowitzki. I imagine there's going to be some more calls, but all 4 of these guys are a part of that 2011 Dallas Mavericks team. So essentially, he's just getting the band back together. Another coaching change around the league. Terry Stotts resigned from the Portland Trail Blazers position. Chauncey Billups takes over, a longtime assistant around the league. He's spent some time with the Clippers, and they're just as we're speaking, he's there now with them in the conference finals as they face the Phoenix Suns, but they did allow him to step away to interview for the Portland Trail Blazers position. I like the hire. I've always said that Damian Lillard reminds me of Chauncey Billups in the mean of his demeanor, big time moments, never shying away from them, hitting big shots. Dame is this era's big shot. Mr. Big Shot. He's this era's Mr. Big Shot. So the fact that they got the hire, I like Chauncey from the player perspective. Like I said, being in control, hitting big shots, but his style of play on both sides of the ball, defense and offense. The 04 Pistons, they're all the way up in 2008, 04 to 2008. They had a very successful run with Chauncey at the helm, and then he got sent packing, for Allen Iverson to trade to Denver. He gets Denver to the conference final against the Lakers his first season there. I've always liked Chauncey and respected him in terms of being able to take a franchise and turn it into a winning organization and just kind of get them over the hump, if you will, and get them into that championship picture. I feel like he's going to do that with Portland. There's going to be some changes in personnel. We just found out just recently that Zach Collins refractured his foot. So, quite possible that there's going to be a hard look at the big man rotation in Portland, and he may be gone. They're still debating if CJ is going to be traded. They told him that he wouldn't, but we know how the league works. If the organization does it, it's cool. If the player does it, it's bad. So CJ may or may not be there, but I like Chauncey at the helm with those 2 guys in the backcourt. Looking at the Boston Celtics, Ime Udoka. He's an assistant for the Brooklyn Nets right now, but he was a longtime assistant with the San Antonio Spurs. Another pop guy. They all seem to play basketball or look at basketball in the same way. Everybody gets to gets to score. Everybody plays tough defense. I mean, honestly, it really doesn't matter who scores. Just share the basketball, move the basketball. A high level of assists, high level of IQ on the basketball court being displayed. Play together, play in strength, play with numbers. You always have to look at guys that come from the Popovich, the San Antonio Spurs organization, and respect them, and how they view the game of basketball as a team sport and doing everything as a team to get them to that championship level. And Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they're one of the better ISO young players in the league. But if you can teach them to play within the flow of the offense, get all their points, get all their shots, get all their touches within the flow of the offense, and not take away from the other guys, what other guys do on the basketball court, how everybody else can contribute, then you've had a successful season one as the coach of the Celtics. But if you can get them, back to the semifinals or the conference finals, then you might be sticking around for quite some time. Now, Brad Stevens is a little bit different from Danny Ainge and how he does things. We'll see, but I know from a perspective of a fan, Danny Ainge didn't shy about trading somebody, which we've seen with Kemba Walker just recently, and he didn't, mix words when it's time to fire a coach or hire a new coach, anything of that nature. So we'll see how Brad Stevens handles things going forward. But I like Udoka, the hire right there. Looking at Orlando, New Orleans, and Washington, all three coaching vacancy, I'm actually intrigued by each of them. Starting with Orlando, Penny Hardaway has been a name thrown around as a lead candidate. Now, what I'll say about that is, just 2 days ago or a day ago, he did hire Larry Brown as an assistant coach in Memphis. Whether that was just him hiring his replacement, knowing he was going to leave, I do like the fact that his name is in the mix. He's already had a couple interviews with Orlando. He's a legend there. One of probably the best point guard in the history of the Orlando Magic. Got him to the finals in '94 with Shaq, D. Scott. There's a lot of history between him and the organization. The fact that they're trying to bring him back into the fold, and he does have coaching experience. He is a legend there. You can sell tickets and still get some development for players like Cole Anthony, Bamba. Hopefully, you see, over the course of the next couple of years, you start to see some maturity, and particularly those two players, you start to see a progression in, all right, are we making the right moves to get back to the playoffs? And I think hiring Penny Hardaway is a good place to start. You got to have good leadership at the top, player development, and then you have to have good draft picks, which they do have over the past 2 or 3 years. And like I said, the key to this is Penny Hardaway and Cole Anthony. You get Penny Hardaway, you sell tickets, you get player development, you get good coaching, you have Cole Anthony. Can you develop him into a potential star? I like what I see from him so far. Let's see if he can take a leap going into next season. New Orleans Pelicans. Van Gundy did resign. We see this as a habit. When the writing is on the wall, he likes to get going. New Orleans is intriguing because you already have a bona fide star in Zion Williamson. You have an all-star in Brandon Ingram. Lonzo Ball, his contract is up at the end of the season, so we'll see where he lands. Does he stay or does he go? I like Lonzo and Zion together. I like that, that forward guard pick and roll. I like the chemistry that they have between one another. You're going to need a coach that can step in and focus in on that. Focus on the development of an actual offensive system. That's what I would like to see. I don't think they've really had that since Alvin Gentry was there. It's kind of been, who's the best player on the court right now? Okay, pass them the ball. I think they need a little bit more of a system, an idea of what our focus is going into each and every possession, not just each and every night. I mean, you can say, all right, play good defense, rebound, play tough, shoot from the outside, or get to the basket if the shots aren't falling. But if you don't have a clear idea of what the attack each and every possession is going to be, where are we going to get the ball, where do we like, who do we like bringing the ball up, who do we like initiating the offense, things of that nature. What type of defense are we going to run? Are we going to be a zone attack defense? Are we going to be man-to-man? Are we going to switch everything? Are we going to switch guards only or bigs only? You have to have a clear idea for a team like this because, like I said, you have a star. You have a secondary all-star. You have players that can fill in around them already. Young players, Ball, Hart. There's a couple guys that come off the bench that, nobody really knows. I like Jackson a lot, Very long, very lengthy. He reminds me a little bit of JaVale McGee or a Tyson Chandler. I think you have a lot of young pieces. If you can focus in on that, and like I said, put them in the system, they're going to flourish in the next couple of years. They keep getting very, very close to that 10th, ninth seed. You need a coach that's going to push them over the hump. I'm not really sure who's out there right now. People like to throw away, throw out Mark Jackson or one of the Van Gundys. That's their name seems to be thrown in the mix. But since Stan is the one leaving, it'd be kind of interesting to hire his brother Jeff to come in and take the job. But Mark Jackson is a name that I would like to see in there as well. Pierce, he did get fired from Atlanta. It'd be interesting to see him possibly take a look at that job. Alvin Gentry, like I said, assistant coach around the league. It'd be nice to see him go back to New Orleans without the pressure, without the expectations of win now or you're fired. Mike D'Antoni, he's been on the market as of late. He's been trying to get a job. He interviewed for the Blazers job, obviously lost it to Chauncey. Maybe D'Antoni might be a guy, but you would need a strong defensive-minded coach to be his assistant. Otherwise, you're going to be giving up 120 and you're only scoring 115. Or you're going to be scoring 115 but giving up 140 each and every night. So that's a very intriguing job. That's going to be a job that comes with expectations. Washington, in my opinion, I don't think anybody should look to take that job after Scott Brooks resigned. And I don't think anybody should take that job without understanding, okay, what direction is this organization heading in? What are we doing here? A lot of people looked at Westbrook and Beal and said, I mean, you guys are two superstars. You should be able to get them over the hump. You should be able to get them to the playoffs and have a good run, have a great run, be dominant. Russ, you're averaging triple doubles. Beal, you're averaging over 30 a night. What's the problem? Where the problem comes in is you don't have any bigs. You don't have a paint presence. You don't have any defenders on that team, guys that are going to play defense. One of the worst defensive teams I've ever seen. And I mean, they're in the South. They're in the Southeast Division with Miami, Atlanta, and all those other teams. So you need to have a good defense when you're going against these two high-powered shooting offenses, and we just didn't see that because obviously they were barely getting into the playoffs on the back of two huge Russell Westbrook performances. So I mean, you get to the playoffs, you gotta have a strategy, you gotta have a defense other than Bill get 30, Russ get a triple double. Bertans too inconsistent for me. Hachimura, again inconsistent, but I feel like he didn't really know what his role was the past 2 years. It wasn't something that was defined by Scott Brooks. I feel like certain teams, they have that third guy that doesn't really know his role, but the successful championship level teams that have that third guy that understands his role and what he's to do every single night, they're more successful. I think guys like Hachimura, you could throw Kuzma in that mix. I feel like if you define their role, like, okay, look, when our star player goes to the bench, you're going to be the one initiating the offense. You're going to be the one bringing the ball up. You're going to be the one initiating the pick and roll. We're going to get the ball to you in these spots. We're going to get you to the ball in these situations. I feel like if Hachimura had that understanding that when Westbrook's out of the game, when Beal's out of the game, your offense, this is your offense. And we've seen him hit outside shots. We've seen him hit mid-range. We've seen him hustle and get to the glass and get to the boards, put up points. I mean, he's capable of being in that role. He's just young. The more time he gets, the more experience he gets, I feel like he'll be better. Especially one of my favorite backup point guards in the league, playing with Ish Smith. I feel like Smith he's intelligent enough to know, all right, so I mean, this is what needs to happen in the offense. This is a person I need to get it to. I need to find a way to get him going. I like Smith. He's a very intelligent point guard. He always changes the pace of the game, but he's always under control when he's moving at breakneck speed. But he does have a very strong sense of, okay, I'm going to make this move, but I know how to find the open guy if I get cut off or if they rotate over. I think Hachimura and Smith can work off each other coming off the bench for that team. The biggest problem for them is the paint presence. Can you solidify that? Can you get guys in there that's not only young but intelligent and that can step up, make big plays? You know, Jared Allen is that guy for Cleveland. Can you get somebody like that in maybe the draft or maybe trade for him? But Hachimura, Bertans, Smith, Beal, Westbrook, those are the guys you need to keep. If you do end up trading Westbrook to the Lakers, you need something huge in return, not just no cheap little second round pick or anything like that. No, you're trading a triple double. I'm gonna need a triple double and a couple different players coming back my way. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Special thanks to Curtis Murphy and Murphy Elite Training for sponsoring this episode. If you want to stay up to date on merchandise or simply update your game, please click the link in the description to stay up to date on all things Murphy Elite Training. Till next time, you know the rules.